All right, this is some practice for solving equations. There are homework problems that will require you to rearrange an equation to see if it is linear and to determine the slope or intercept if it is. So this practice will help you if you're a little bit rusty. If you think that you've got a good handle on this, go ahead and try solving all 6 of those first problems and see if your answers match up to this. If not, I'm going to walk you through the rest of these, or through all of them, I should say. So let's start with this first one. We're going to solve the equation for the unknown variable. So each one of these only has one unknown or one variable in them. So 2x, x is the unknown variable here that we're going to solve for. And what we want to do is get all the parts with that variable on one side and everything else on the other. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So I can get rid of that 5 there. So I have 2x is equal to 18. And then I'll divide both sides by 2 and I get x is equal to 9. You are certainly welcome to show all of those steps. You're also welcome to kind of shortcut this into something that looks like this. So you know you're going to add 5, so you write 2x is equal to 18. And you can divide that 2, that 18 by 2 in your head, and so you get x equals 9. So if this is what you show for work, that's totally fine too. You don't have to show all of these steps unless you would like to. All right, number 2. So this one has x's in 2 places. Okay, so you'll want to get all of those x's together on one side and then all of the numbers together on the other side and solve. Then on number 3, you're going to want to distribute this before you go much further. All right, so I want you to try those 2 out. Pause the video, give those a try, see how you do, and then we'll come back and go through them. All right, hopefully you gave those a try, so let's see how this goes. I want to put all the x's on one side, and I'm actually going to move this 2x over to the other side. And the reason for that is that I prefer to have a positive variable if it's at all possible. You could certainly subtract 4x from both sides and you get a negative 2x over here. You'll still wind up with the same answer. It's just kind of more of a preference of how you want to go about solving them. So if I subtract 2x from both sides, that leaves me with a negative 5 on the left side and a 2x minus 9 on the right side. And then I'll add 9 to both sides. And so I get 2x on the right side, and then on the left side, I have 5 minus 9, so I get 4. Divide both sides by 2, and that leaves me with x is equal to 2 as a solution. All right, number 3, I do need to distribute this first, so I get 5/3 y plus 2 times 5/3 equals 1/2 minus y. All right, so the 2 times the 5/3, that's going to be 10/3. So I have 5/3 y plus 10/3 is equal to 1/2 minus y. So I've cleared out all the parentheses there, and now I can start working on combining like terms. So I'm going to add y to both sides. So I end up with a positive variable over here again. And if you don't quite remember how those fractions work, that 5/3 plus 1 can really be written as 5/3 plus 3/3. And so you'll add those numerators and you get 8, and then the denominator stays the same. So I have 8/3 y plus 10/3 is equal to 1/2. And then I'm going to subtract that 10/3 from both sides. So I have 8/3 y is equal to, now we have a small problem here because they don't have the same denominator. So I can certainly give them a common denominator and go through that process. But your calculator, if you have any calculator, will do those fractions for you and turn them into a decimal. If you have a graphing calculator, you can actually get it to keep it in that fraction, so you can see what that is. And I would take either way, either the decimal or the fraction, as long as you give me some decent amount of decimal places. So let's do 1/2 minus the 10/3. Okay, so I get negative 2.833. I could write that down, or on a graphing calculator, if you hit that math button, that first choice has an arrow and then it says frac. That says turn the previous thing into a fraction. So I get negative 17/6. And then I just need to get y by itself. So I have this 8/3 here. I could divide both sides by 8/3. Or the same idea would be to multiply by 3/8. Okay, and the reason this works is 3 times 8 is 24. And 8 times 3 is 24. So you end up with 24 over 24, which is just equal to 1. Okay, so we'll have just one y over here. And then over on this side, I need to multiply this 17 over 6 times the 3/8. I'm going to actually get my calculator to do that for me. And then I'll convert it back to a fraction. And so I get negative 17 over 16 as my final answer there. All right, so, or I guess we could see what that comes out to be as a decimal. So if you gave me negative 1.0625, that also works just fine.